Hooray!
All right,
Okay.
which team wants to go first?
Go first. Yeah, okay, great. So I will start us off. And, oh, I lost Zoom. Am I sharing the code?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So we were tasked with issue number 14.3, which was to create an icon button component. So before we discuss this particular component, we did want to share that we modify index.html. Sorry, Zoom is all over the place. I'm not sure what I'm even showing. 1 second. So in index, I did have a Font Awesome account. So we added the source code. So now we can use Font Awesome all throughout our project. And then can you see the icon button component now? Okay. So in the icon button component, thank you first to EJ for all of their support. They helped us today to make our code even more flexible. And the way, I will do my best to explain it, the way we made it flexible is by ensuring that it takes the form of a button, a link, or a component type that passes through as a prop, that passes as prop. So the first thing we did was to deconstruct the prop object. So as you can see here, we have as, which we renamed to component, and we gave it a default value of button. We also passed the button, the icon, and label. And the reason we deconstruct the props object is to give it flexibility. So we can also include something like properties like class name, to, and Nick will discuss the on-click trick that we learned today later on. And that need to be passed as a component, which in this case could be a button or a nav link. And so in this case, this component renders an icon and a label that is wrapped inside a dynamic component, which in this case could be a button, could be a nav link, which again provides us with flexibility. Now, when you see the demo, you will see that the icon is displayed above the label. And this is thanks to the props, I believe, in layouts.jsx. So let me go to the code. So this is our layout.jsx component. And in here, you can see that it can handle various attributes, like, again, the to, the class name. And then in terms of navigation flow, when you see that the demo, you will notice that now we have 3 icons at the bottom with labels. And the first one is the view list icon. And this icon for now takes the user to the home route. Then we had an add item, let me go back. For the view list, it takes you to the home route, the home page. And in that view, you can see all of your shopping lists. The center icon is labeled add item, and it navigates you to the manage list. And in here, you can add new items where you can specify the urgency. And then lastly, we moved the sign out button from I believe before it was at the top. Now we have it in the nav bar, and it locks out the user with a single click. And so when you navigate to use OAuth, you will see that we added the icon inside of our sign up button. And that's it for that. And Nick will take it on from here.
Thank you. Right, as we discussed, let's see, yes, I'm sharing.
So these are going to look pretty similar to how they started, but their behavior is a little different because now the component is flexible. It's unopinionated as to what it's actually rendering, and we can reuse them to pass in whatever we'd like. So you'll see on the right here, we're saying to render these icon buttons as nav links, which means that inside of them they're actually going to be a nav link element. But also we could pass a sign out button, and that's why this one you'll see is styled a little bit differently. If I click on it, we don't get that highlighting like we do with the others, but it does do the signing out, which is what we want. And then eventually when we make a land out page, pressing sign out will also navigate you to the landing page. Another concept that we didn't apply here yet because it's not necessary for things in the nav bar, but a feature that we talked about, which was really interesting to us, is that if we look inside of the icon button, you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and make this max size because we don't need that. We're taking in props spread out, right? So what this is doing is saying like, these are the things that we want to destructure into variables, but we also might take any number of other props coming in. And so this allows whoever's using this component some flexibility in terms of how they want to implement it, what else they want to pass. And the pattern that we were shown is that, for instance, I guess I could go through it here. So say we want this function to have some default behavior, like perhaps it does some kind of, every time the component's clicked on, it by default always does this one function, but maybe we want it to be flexible so they can do something else. So it might look like something like this, where we say on click equals handle click, right? And so when we go ahead and define handle click, const handle click, this. Okay, so say this is the default behavior we want. Right now, we'll just say it says just console logs hello. This would actually be, some meaningful code that goes in here. This is what we want the component to do all the time, no matter what. Well, what we can also do is destructure on click from here and provide as an argument to this function, to this component, and place it right in here. So now it could do two things potentially. It's always going to be able to at least console log hello, but maybe clicking on this component also does some other function that the user or the consumer of this icon button gets to provide. And now another good point that was brought up to, oh, you want it to have a default behavior, right? Because if someone doesn't pass in this function, then on click isn't anything, right? And so then that will cause a problem. So we can potentially just say on click equals this generic, I believe it was called a no op function. So here's a function that doesn't do anything, but it at least won't cause an error if no function was provided. And the last point I can bring up is that in setting it up this way, icon button, every time it renders, it's going to have to create a place in memory for on click, and it's going to have to, make a space for it and then write it to memory every time the button renders. But if we want to not have that happen, we can come up here and say const no op equals this, right? And so now it's not actually getting explicitly defined inside of the function anymore. Rather, it's being defined outside of it. So we don't have to worry about it getting rewritten every time. And now we have this generic default no op function that's being passed into the icon button, which means that the user of this icon component can provide a function if they want to. They don't have to. It's safeguarded so that it won't cause an error if they don't. But regardless of whether they do or they don't, this component still has the ability to say hello when you click on it. So that was all kind of just a theoretical discussion we had around this. Something we could definitely implement if we decide we want to make these buttons have certain other functionality down the road. But that is all from us. Is there any questions?
I just want to say great job. That was a very good explanation. So excellent. It's making me wish we had more learning sprints for each of our meetings this far. That would have been a lot of fun. I do want to say though, in your defense, it was your idea to bring up what happens if there's no callback function provided. You brought that up, and then we talked about it. So you saw the flaw in my plan before we got there. But great job. Any questions from the other team feedback? Megan, I saw you nodding a lot.
Yeah, I just want to +1 what EJ was saying. Y'all did a great demo. I love whenever anybody teaches anybody anything. So great job.
Yeah, particularly because I just gave you that concept yesterday, and then now you're telling us about it. That's how you learn real good, making it someone else's problem after you learn it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's when you really. There's plenty of times where I'm like, oh, I understand that fully, and then I turn around to explain to someone else, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's not there.
I've never had a thought in my life. Yeah. Great job. How about Stacy and Shveksha? Are you ready?
Yes, I can show my screen. So our task was to create a disclosure component, and with the passing the children inside of it, that allows users to expand and collapse the content sections in there. So there's a trigger element in there that collapses the content when clicked or when entering the space bar, and also the enter key. So we have also added the ARIA controls and ARIA expanded level in here. So for now, we have added React icons in here, but I know it's going to be replaced with the other team's component icon button component in here. Eventually, we're going to like merge it together. So I'm a visual person, so I need something to see on the screen. That's why I added in there for now. And this is how we did. It's simple, and I did some refactoring of the code. So as we discussed in our whimsical wireframe plan, so I could show you in this one. So this is the collapsible content. Like if we click and closed it. So, and I also removed the purchase date as we discussed, because we had some time to do. And then icon, these will be replaced with the icon button component later on. So right now I just added in here. And this is everything we did. Do you have anything to add, Stacy?
Oh, sorry. No, not really. I mean, we've both have just been working on it because we worked in parts. And this morning I hopped on there just like Shavisha, I was like, I have OCD when something is all crammed.
Yes.
So I just edited the CSS with the create a list and the add button. Of course, that could get changed if anybody doesn't like it this size. Also, too, I added a width with the how the list is structured on the page. We had it like super big, wide. There was no width. And I added a 70%. Again, it's just me with my OCD. I was like, okay, I think this is more like, because from my eyes, or I'm pretty sure anybody else, would appreciate it that way. Of course, if not, we could always change it. Yeah, pretty much, because we worked in parts, because it's very hard to the two of us to be on together working. So I did my part, which is the disclosure, and Shavisha refactored, what needed to be changed. And this is where she went ahead, one step further into implementing what was on the mockup.
Yeah, I couldn't realize that if it was working or not just to see the content, because when I click, at first I was having problem when I click this, both of them were opening at the same time, but both of them were viewing the same list. That's the problem I had when I was doing it. And I solved it by using use effect. And that was how I did, is using this one. If current path is equals to list path, and show the same list in there. So that's the reason that I tried to put two components together. So it was like kind of like I wanted to do something and it wasn't doing anything, and so I tried to refactor, and this is the final result right now.
Classic. I wanted to do something, it wasn't working. I had to fight with it. Love that. Story as old as time.
Yeah.
Great job. This looks great. I think it looks much better than it did before. There's less clutter, and you can kind of more clearly scan to read what you're looking for. Whereas the table was kind of like, it's a lot of information. Oh my goodness. But this, and we could decide to add more stuff if we wanted to fill the space or better maximize information we're disclosing. But I think this is nice and like glanceable. If you're on your phone, you look down, you see what you want, right? So good job.
Thank you.
I do have some implementation feedback, and this one I can give you by way of demo. If you click into the search items button, or not the button, the field, yeah, the field, press tab. I want you to delete the banana with your keyboard.
Oh.
Aha, you can't.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
Do you know why?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's okay. The thing is, you've got only an SVG as the delete button. It's not a button.
Okay. Got
So
it.
that's a small bug, which by the way, bugs get shipped all the time. There's nothing wrong with, realizing there's a small gap in what you've done. It would have helped if maybe your project manager, me, had given you some safeguards or said more explicitly what you should and shouldn't do in certain situations. But there's no making software without making bugs. So this is just, part of the process.
Okay.
So in the future, just keep in mind that when you're making something interactive, it should be a button or a link every single time.
Okay.
Yeah,
I put it as a button, because knowing in mind that it will gonna be replaced at some point with the other team's component.
Right, and you were saying, you were correctly saying we're gonna make use of the other team's icon button for this. So yeah, one thing that we probably wouldn't be using it inside your disclosure button itself, because that's already a button.
Oh, okay.
So you would leave those SVGs alone because they're just living inside of your button. But the trash can is a good place for an icon button because it's, it's small, squarish, icon sized. And we could, in theory, use the icon button for the add button. I believe the add button up top also had a design for a plus button of some kind before. We don't have to, but yeah, we have a good use case for an icon button in the form of that delete button. And then finally, can you share with your keyboard?
Keyboard. No, it's just moving into the other one.
Yeah, do you know why that is? Because I just said we want to have icons in buttons, but why is this one not working?
I think, I'm not sure. I think it's because the whole thing is a button in here.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay.
So maybe the ideal future of this is, and this is a little bit annoying, but it's like you would want the share button to be a sibling of your disclosure and on the right of it.
Like, you mean over here?
Yeah, it would be outside the disclosure, and it would be a sibling to
it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, laying that out might be tricky, but that's the best way I can think of to make it make sense, because you don't want it to be inside that disclosure button. You want it to be next to it so they perform two distinct actions, right?
Okay.
Great job. And this is stuff I didn't put in the ticket, like I said, but these are things you can think about. Like, make sure you test your stuff with your keyboard, and even if you have to ship something because you don't have time, it's not perfect. We know it'll be changed because we're working on different code. That happens all the time too. But it's good to check with your tab key to make sure you can complete all your actions that way. And that's all I had. Any questions from the team or feedback from Megan?
What happens if you zoom? I'm curious, like with the widths set.
Yeah, you should be able to type Command+ to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yay.
Yeah, nice job. And I like seeing all these icons come together. It makes it a little bit more glanceable.
Yeah.
Great job, team.
Yay, good job.
Thank you.
Oh, I have one more question. Like the add button on the top, it just looks plain. It looks blah. Like Do you
Mhm.
recommend we like zhush it up a bit? I don't know. I was trying to see what I could do with
I
it,
love
but
I love the zhuzh. That's so New York of you. Yeah, we gotta zhuzh it up. My Oma also says that. Gotta zhuzh it up. Needs some sparkle. Yeah, we had a icon in the design, but we don't necessarily have to do that. It could be a
Okay.
word, it could be anything. Do we want to maybe find an icon for this guy?
Yeah,
Um,
sure. Yeah, we could add like a plus sign, how
Mhm.
we did a wireframe.
Yeah. That can be a very small little fixed ticket to go with
Yeah.
something in the future.
Yeah, maybe a ticket to fix all the icons in here.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense because that way it's like one kind of
One kind
work
of-
being
Mhm.
described in a ticket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, Megan? Comments?
Yeah, no, I think that this looks great. I really like the new layout, and also the fact that you don't have to like bounce back and forth between multiple pages to see like your lists and
Yeah.
then the stuff in the list. Yeah, great job.
One thing I think we're all seeing too is that we're gonna want to figure something out with this yellow, I think. This yellow text
yeah,
for
Mhm.
kind of soon.
And also we haven't decided which we are going to use for CSS, like Bootstrap or Material UI or
Mhm.
Tailwind. We still got to decide with the team.
One thing you can do if you're not certain how you want to handle all these different color-coded indicators, you could make them have their own background colors that are always the same. That way you won't have to like
Mm.
or you could color coordinate the right background colors that would show up with the text color you chose. Or you could make the background of the orange of the do soon badge orange and then text be white, and that might look a little better. So you could turn these into from plain text to look more like rounded badges, or what was the word I've heard that always tickles me? Squircle badges, rounded squares.
That's funny.
But also this is already so much more like of your opinions and your styles than it was a single week ago. So this is great. Even if you did just this would be a wonderful demonstration of like what you've collaborated on and decided together. So you're doing great. Hi, Jenny.
Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry I'm late. I had a dentist appointment that went for like 2 hours long.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. But do you have all new teeth? Do you have fresh teeth?
My teeth are all intact, but unfortunately I need to get a wisdom tooth extracted.
Oh
So
no,
no.
the
very,
worst.
very sad. I'm like a late bloomer.
about it.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
thanks, robot lady. But all good. It was very thorough cleaning that took like over an hour. So I don't know what that says about me. I'm ready, but
You know, it's very
Good.
important to keep your teeth sparkly. And everyone, do your demos again for Jenny. No, I'm kidding. Great job. We can go over stuff if we have to, but I want to leave the rest of this time to talk about maybe more things we want to plan, but also next week is where we I think are digging into more career lab stuff. Is that right, Megan? I can't really parse this brief. That's why I asked you to look at it
Let me pull
earlier.
it up. Today is because I know ours are all off because the dates assume you start on Sunday. So for us, we're in week 8 now. So what is this? Self-study module, or here, should I share my screen? Would that be helpful?
I'm stopping it.
This one. So we are here, I think.
Yeah, okay. So that's I think you're right because we're starting like the number of the week is assuming we start on the first day in the span of the week. So yeah.
We're ahead of the curve. We start on Saturdays.
Yes, exactly. So technically we're like largely a week ahead. I think because technically this is where it's saying during this week you should use use your time, but we're already doing it. So we're doing great. That's part of why I was confused. I was like, wow, we're already designing. What did we not do? Did we not do something last week? Or I think maybe this is planned to give you like a break or something. Well, that's right.
But yeah, there's
No.
this self-paced learning module that I just dropped in the chat. Let's look and see what this is. So are we doing this coming
Yeah.
week? Like we should be scheduling these.
I think so. Yes,
Okay.
I think so. So it's great that we've done all this work so far too, because we have like a nice foundation and we don't have to work necessarily as hard this week when we're doing our pair programming practice. You'll see that it says like reach out to the person scheduled with you below. That was from when we would like have a system where we would schedule across cohorts to make sure that people were paired with somebody. But right now, it's just the 4 of you with each other. So we get to decide who wants to pair with whom, or you can all hang out together and grill each other politely with questions. It's up to you.
Preference.
And that's the only
on pairs or-
assigned thing other than saying we keep working on our design as we have time, right, Megan? Am I understanding
so.
that correctly?
Is that additional to the mentor mock interviews?
Oh, we have to do that. Oh,
I think these are next week, or at
Oh.
least there's a job fit mock interview, review, prepare for, and schedule and complete the job fit mock interview. Yeah, so this is Collabs and mentors. This one, this week is just you all practicing. God, I wish it would take me back to the same scroll position. This one, it sounds like, is just Collabs practicing with each other. It's like a warm up.
Can I get first dib? Doorbell.
Stacey said, I want to practice with Dory Bell. We're doing it.
I haven't seen her in a while. You know, we haven't chat.
Oh, yeah, that I think we're probably working together in the issue this week.
Okay, cool.
Whatever issue we're assigned. Should we talk about that?
Well, you're gonna to be clear, you're doing both some design cleanup this week, but like primarily we want you to spend your time doing this. If you're worried about not having enough brain or time or both, I would focus on doing more of this because we have plenty of time for design stuff. You got so much done in 1 week that I think we're gonna be in a good position. I don't know, Megan or Jenny, do you feel differently?
In regards to,
How we split our time is between doing career lab stuff and design stuff.
yeah. Yeah, it depends on like how you're feeling and
Mhm.
how much work you have like left that you want to get to. But yeah, I
Yeah,
would
in part it really
definitely-
it's up to all of you, but I guess what I mean is more like we don't want to not do this necessarily. So just we want to plan accordingly so you're not overburdened if possible.
yeah, I would definitely definitely spend some time on the career lab stuff. I feel like that the program is great because it offers all these resources and this like option to do all these mock interviews. So I mean, focusing on that will be beneficial, especially if you guys are all going to the job hunt.
Nick, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I don't know if it's just me, is anyone else getting a 404 if they actually click on the links?
Oh boy. So
Oh, no.
yeah. Oh no. So I can find that. I think I have a repo. I think the repo's just broke when we changed some structure stuff. So I'll find that while we keep talking.
Can I propose
but-
something?
Sure.
I think to help us like manage our time, it would be really helpful if we come up with the issues now, even if they're basic, so that we know we can gauge how much those will take. And then I understand that, you know, prioritizing the career stuff is most important, but I think that would be really helpful if we can discuss the last 15 minutes, like what we want to work on this week.
Sure.
Just as a real quick, these links are supposed to go to these things in the resources folder, but the
Mhm.
links are broken. But this is
Okay.
how you can find them.
In resources, let's see, so that's right, learning modules, resources, okay.
I think it's upset because in this link, it's missing the learning modules piece of the path,
Right.
but that's how you get to them. But I can
Okay.
stop sharing this now.
So you went to week 8, right? Week number 8, just to make sure, because I wasn't there. I'm sorry, I was looking at the.
Oh yeah, no worries. You can also just go into like in your repo, there is this learning modules folder. And if you go in there, there's a pair interview practice markdown file. And then there's also a resources folder that has other stuff.
We can paste links directly to those other broken links in Slack, but they're all there.
Resources, so it's in learning modules. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There.
here, I'll post links to those in Slack while we.
Yeah.
Where did the share button go? How do I stop this? Oh, it's over here.
Should we schedule the like mentor mock interviews just to have some things on the calendar for next week? Just so
Yeah.
like,
We can do that.
yeah, I feel like it's easier to plan or to prepare when you have the pressure.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you mean,
But yeah.
Jenny, the one where we demo or the one where they work with us?
Where you demo.
The one
I
where,
thought we do that during the sync, no?
Just kidding.
yeah, the one where we do the mock interview with like the one-on-one mock interviews, no?
Hmm. Yeah. Is that happening this week or is it the coming week after this week? That's what I got turned around with.
This week is the peer ones, if I understand correctly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This peer ones, you guys practice, and then the next week we do the ones with you, with
Yeah.
the members, right?
So I think we do our demo in the weekly sync next Saturday, and
Okay.
then that week, starting Sunday, is when.
Right. Okay. I feel
Yeah.
like we already covered this, but I'm just like not good at time. So everyone's
No,
gotta
I feel
hold my
that.
hand quality.
Okay.
Oh, Clifford. Ugh, hang on, I'll be right back. Clifford rolled in the dirt and came inside.
So while Megan goes to clean Clifford,
Maybe
let's go ahead.
oh, sorry. Maybe the mentors, we can put our availabilities for the following week in the channel, and then whoever's available at that time can just select a slot or something.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to just kind of like spend some time on Slack scheduling. It shouldn't be that long, knock on wood. I can be as flexible as necessary if conflicts are coming up this week. Just let me know. My number one priority is you get to have the practice that you want of this. So I would much rather move things around my schedule and be respectful to all of you than to make you bend over backwards to meet any of us in particular. So just let me know.
In terms of
And
the issue, what,
go ahead, Doorbell.
yeah, the issues, I'm looking at the time. I'm worried that we're gonna run out of time.
Mhm.
So in terms of the issues, what do we want to work on this week?
Yeah, what's left? We have Doorbell, do you have the whimsical on hand? Is that still valid or are we moving on to it?
I can share my
different?
screen.
Okay.
We're soon. There we go. Okay. Oh, weird. You guys are gonna see yourselves. Let me move some out of the way. There we go. And here is whimsical. Okay. All right. So let me drag it over here. Can everybody see?
Mhm.
Okay. So, ooh, I see Suveksha right here. So let's see, what do we have left? Oh, landing page. So we need a landing page that says, welcome, our product, check out our product because it offers X, Y, and Z. So that's one. And then we need the messaging, right? So for example, in the homepage, when you're a new user, you want to be prompted to make a list by clicking on the view list icon. And I don't know if anybody else wants to jump in, feel free. Let me just scroll down. And I think what Sueksha mentioned too was a great point in terms of refactoring the icons, making sure that we utilize the icon button JSX.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's
Oh, and authentication too. We need to authenticate so that non-logged in users should not be able to view our navbar links.
All right. So if I'm following correctly, we have a few discrete things. We've got we want to make a landing page. And I'm saying it out loud, so I will be less likely to forget. Doesn't mean I won't forget, but I'm less likely if I say it out loud. We want to do a landing page. We want to make use of the icon button in places where we haven't yet used the icon button. We want to do authentication. We also, one more thing we identified, which is kind of part of the icon button thing, we identified a place to clean up some of the code that for our disclosure. And we want to harmonize how we generate icons because we have two different methods for generating icons right now. So I don't really mind which method we pick, but we have two. So which one do we want to keep?
What is the other method for generating icons right now? I guess
I believe it was Shveksha who said that she imported a React package that renders like React components as icons.
Yeah,
And they're both font awesome, but they're different ways of using font awesome, if I understand that correctly.
React Icons has so many options than only using the font option. It also includes the font option in there. And it was Stacy's idea. She installed the React Icons and I just went ahead and applied it and to see how it happens.
Well, is there kind of a standard on what's more stable or flexible or maintain, like, I just don't know what the benefits of either what might be. Like we're doing
That's a good question.
the method
It's
we're
up to,
doing is
all of you to decide.
what you would consider like a CDN, right? Is that what we're doing with the link in the head of the HTML?
Isn't it? Yeah, it's their CDN link, like that they host. Whereas because the icons that Shveksha and Stacy installed are an NPM package, we're hosting them locally.
Mhm.
There could be a whole TED talk on the pros and cons of a CDN versus hosting locally. That's a whole separate thing. But just to make a decision, my vote might be toward keeping the library that Shveksha and Stacy installed because it's local. It has some flexibility. If we decide we don't like Font Awesome's icon language, we can switch to something else in theory. And it also kind of is more expressive because you're rendering an icon rather than having to know what class names create a Font Awesome icon, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Mhm.
All this to say, one of our tickets should be specifically about the goal of harmonizing how we summon our icons because we've got two. So someone just needs to go through and replace the ones that are class name based. Does that as a goal make sense? We can write tickets for you to remember.
Yeah, I got just a bullet list in the Slack channel for now, but issues after that will be helpful.
We also don't have to do all of this in this exact week. To be clear, we're just kind of itemizing what exists so we can make a decision about what we're doing right now.
This looks good. Looks
Stacey,
approachable.
if we work together, would you like to work on the landing page?
I think that would be best because I will be limited this week because I am traveling on Tuesday to St. Lucia for a family's funeral. So, and I'll be back on Friday. So I think the landing page is like super, quick. So that way, if I hop online with you, we could go, knock it out and get stuff done.
And sorry to hear about your.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry to hear about it, Stacy.
Thank you,
Yeah, and
guys.
if you need time to be with your family, don't worry about like our thing. We can support Dory Bell if you need us to. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Of course. Okay, so we have Dory Bell and Stacy, and then we can decide more exactly what we're doing. Also, I would much prefer that we pick something that seems achievable, but if we have more time, then we can give you more work, but I don't want to overburden you by any means. So let's just say landing page for now, and then if you're like, I want more stuff, we can do more stuff.
And then
Shveksha and Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say these harmonizing like the icon source and implementing where the icon buttons should be kind of seem like related tasks in a way.
Yeah.
But could be
I think they would technically be two tickets, but I think that they should go to the same people because they're holding hands like this, right?
Right. So, I mean, what do you think about that, Shveksha?
About the icons? Yeah, we can go ahead and do that.
Yeah. There's a tertiary thing that's kind of related that might be out of scope depending on how much time you have left, but I think the task of making the share button a sibling of the disclosure is kind of related.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's related to separate out add item button and also the share list button, like into two separate components. Right now, on share icon button just directs to a managed list page. So like there's both of them together in the same page. It's kind of twisted. Everything is interrelated.
Yeah. Yeah, you're at a very fun part of the growth of a project, I think, where we have enough stuff that we're trying to identify what belongs where and decide how we as engineers want to group it all.
Right.
This happens to everything. You think you're being very careful to organize stuff, and then you realize actually the way things are in practice should be organized somewhat differently, and then you have to do this kind of cleanup work, but it's very important that you do. Because when we don't take time to clean up things like this, it becomes harder and harder and harder to maintain. So this is a really valuable stage, I think. Even if you don't get a lot of like shiny new stuff done, having the practice unwinding this ball of yarn is very valuable. Okay, so do we feel good broadly about this? Again, the mentors and I will create some issues, some proper tickets. But as far as like understanding what will be done, do we feel okay about that?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And also, I want to reiterate, particularly Nick and Shreksha, if you don't get everything done this week, or if you look at it and you're like, this is going to take too long, please just let us know. We can table any part of the work you're doing for next week because we want to give you time to do your interview practice, which, as a quick overview, that would look like you meeting with somebody, whether it's your current partner or somebody else, if you want to, hang out with somebody else, to go over those interview questions that are linked and to pose them to each other so you could practice how you'd answer, looking up your answers, things like that. Or again, you could meet as a group and kind of all take turns round robining questions and seeing how you'd answer them and things like that.
So
Doing
that
in a
would
group
be
sounds like a good idea too. Like we would know what's in the other team's in head, like how would we answer? We can get ideas.
What were you gonna say, Doorbell?
Oh, were you referring to, I'm looking at Megan's links. Are you referring to the pair interview practice? So we should be checking that out.
Yes, I
That's
believe that's
all.
the one that has the questions that are like the technical questions you can ask each other.
Yeah, that link is broken too. So I guess I'll just go through the modules in the repo, the self-paced modules, because if you click on pair, and thank you, Megan, but if you click on pair interview practice link, it takes you to GitHub, and then when you click on them, they're broken. So
Yeah, those are
Oh.
the second two, the resources underneath in Slack, the ones that I linked. But EJ was saying we can update the ones. Actually, here, let me see if I can just do it right now.
just to make sure I understand, so we should be looking at the job fit interview questions, those ones, because
Yes.
there are two links.
Well,
Okay.
there's technical interview questions, which is the ones you're going to pair with each other on. Actually, I think technically you're meant to use both of those as practice, but I would focus on, just because of how much time we have, I would focus on practicing with each other the technical interview questions, which is one of the resources that is in Megan's Slack post.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
for
The
clarity.
bottom two links work, yeah. The bottom
Yes.
two, yes.
That's this one. I just put it in chat for clarity. So that it's like a long list of technical questions you can meet together and you can discuss them.
Also, I just fixed the links. It should be working now in the pair interview practice.
Okay. Do also take a look at the pair interview practice questions because it's or the what is the other one? My words are gone. Words have left me. Job fit questions. That's what I was thinking of. You can also take a look at those as a group if you want to, but we could also spend office hours this week going over one or both of these, depending on your preferences. I may not be getting to the issues for a little bit because I have to go do a few things because life just keeps happening to me, unfortunately. But we'll get some issues out for you. Do we feel okay about what we have in front of us this week? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much.
Of course. Please let us know if you need help or if you feel like too many things are happening. You can always descope something. I would much rather you take something off your plate and table it for later than feel like you have to get it done. Any other questions, comments? No? No one has any opinions? We're all free of thoughts. We've all achieved true Zen. Okay. Okay. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you on Tuesday, if not sooner.
Woo.
Bye.
Bye.